Hi guys, Dana Taylor here for week 4 in Calm 4413. Talking about quality TP and emotional involvement. For this assignment, I think that maybe I'm too emotionally involved in all of my television. But I will say that sometimes when your life is really, really awful, TV can give you just that moment of respite that takes you away from it all. You can live somebody else's life for 30 minutes or an hour and then have the strength to continue on in your own life. So it was really difficult for me to come up with a single episode that really emotionally involved me. I kind of have a list. So when I was young, Sesame Street is episode 1839. It was when Mr. Hooper died and Big Bird learns about death. I was a kid. It was very sad that Mr. Hooper died. The character died in real life, the actor died, so he had to die on the show. And it was really sad. And then later, the series finale of The Wonder Years was very sad for me. They were supposed to end up together, and Kevin and Winnie, and in the voiceover at the end, he talks about how childhood is over in the blink of an eye, and they didn't end up together in the end. It was very, very sad. Then maybe a little more modern, Downton Abbey season 3, episode 7. Mary has just given birth, and Matthew, her husband, has just left the hospital, and he's on the way home, and you see the truck coming, you know what's going to happen, but there's a car accident, and Matthew gets killed right after becoming a father. Everything's finally coming together for Mary, and she just had a baby, and then the show ends, episode ends with her in the hospital holding her baby, and her husband's dead on the side of the road between there and home. It was just really, really heart-wrenching for me. I bawled. Sometimes life is really like that. So even in television, which is supposed to take us away from it all, we see real life over and over again. Sherlock. I love the show Sherlock, which was on the BBC. Season 2, episode 3, The Reichenbach Fall is what it's called. The ending, if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, here's a spoiler. Not really, because I'm not going to tell you how it all works out, but the episode ends with Sherlock taking a leap off of a building, and you see him lying on the ground, and you think that he is dead. I just sat there with my mouth open for 10 minutes, and I just kept saying no over and over again. There's no way! It's Sherlock! No! But they sold it so well that it was so believable that you had to pause for a minute and go, there's no way they can kill him off, but how are they going to get out of this predicament? So it wasn't a crying, it was just kind of a shock emotion, and it made me just pause, and I thought about it for months until Sherlock came back. Because it's the BBC, we always have to wait months before we get the next series of episodes. So it was an emotional response for me. And then another BBC series that I watch, Broadchurch. In season 2, episode 8, it's the end of the second season. The series is about a little boy who was murdered in the small town of Broadchurch, and it's about the town itself. The main characters are really the 2 detectives that are trying to solve the case. And at the end of season 1, the cliffhanger was that they finally determined who his killer was and they arrested him. And the end of season 2, which is episode 8, this episode, it's the end of his trial. And he has pled not guilty, and the trial has been horrible throughout the whole season. And then he gets off. He's the killer, and he gets off. I was so angry. I'm just telling you, it just boiled out of me. How could he get off? He's guilty. You know he's guilty. The evidence is there. What is wrong with the British system of the judicial system? So it was an emotional response. I was angry, very, very angry. And then Grey's Anatomy was another show that I really like. Season 11, episode 21. They kill off Dr. McDreamy. And it's just, the whole episode was awful for me because he's laying there in the bed and he can't communicate to the medical staff who is treating him, but you hear his thoughts in his head, and he knows how to save his own life, but he can't do it because he's dying, and he dies, and it's just really awful. He leaves Meredith and the children, and it was just heart-wrenching. I just sobbed. Again, another show in which I sobbed, but I keep watching it. And then, and that's probably the strongest sad emotional response I've ever had to a television show. And then this season, I'm watching Roswell, and every episode for me is a very strong emotional reaction. The first episode, oh, I was so happy. He showed her how much he loved her. He let her, they shared their thoughts and their emotions. She could see how he felt about her. And you think, oh, this is going to be fabulous. And then the next episode, she wants nothing to do with him by the end. And I was angry. And it just goes, it's just gone on. It's been a roller coaster for me all season. And then they've just kind of left us hanging with what they're going to do at the end of this first season of it. And I really hope they renew it and that we have more. Because I just really enjoy it. And it could be just the season of my life that I'm in that I really need this escape, but I'm really enjoying the emotions. I'm really involved with the characters, and I think that's what makes an emotional response. If they sell it well enough that you're invested in the characters and you feel like you know them, like they are people that you would know in your life, then at least it's an emotional response when something happens to them, whether it's in Broadchurch where the killer gets off after you know that he's guilty and you've lived through the despair of the parents and the shock and the anger of Ellie because she's the detective and her husband is the murderer and she didn't know it. And you've just lived through all the emotions with the characters, and so that's what elicits the emotions from you. And so I don't know that all of those are quality television, but they are all serialized melodramas. So thanks for listening to me ramble about all of these shows, and I look forward to seeing what elicits strong emotional responses in all of you. Thanks, bye.